are live. How's everybody going? How's everybody doing? I'm gonna give a little bit of time for everybody to roll in. I picked 5. I'm assuming that's when most people are getting off. So you can tune in either right when you get home or you can watch this as soon as you get home. Before we start though, I want to give a shout out to Gigi and Mary for joining the group. Thank you guys. Super excited that you're part of the group. If you guys, everybody watching, if you haven't already introduced yourself to the group, please do so. I know it's kind of like a new thing. You're like, I just joined this thing. Like I saw an Instagram post or I saw a video. Like this stuff seems kind of interesting, but I don't really know who you guys are. Let's fix that. Let's kind of bridge the gap, and meet each other. So it's just like people, two real people talking to each other. My name's Dante. My dad, the other admin of the group, and whose story that I'm sharing and where all the information stems from. His name is Dan. He works a ton, so he's not going to be in very consistently as I am, but he'll drop in every once in a while to comment, do a live stream. We have a live stream this Saturday. Him and I, it's going to be a live Google Hangouts call. You guys are more than welcome to join in and ask questions or comment or just watch. That's all fine too. But if you haven't already introduced yourself to the group, please do so. Just comment your name and whatever you feel like you want to say to give context so I know where you're coming from. I can kind of get a sense of who you are and what you're going through, and I can kind of tailor the information we share to kind of suit you guys specifically. Because right now the group is brand new, so we're just producing content, videos about different topics that we think is valuable, and we're going to flesh out the entire video section of the group with just a bunch of broad range content, a bunch of broad range topics. But if you guys are wanting something particular, if you want us to focus on something right now, because you just joined and you're new to the group, and because you're this new, what am I trying to say here? Because you guys joined, basically, what I'm trying to say, I want to fit the content, tailor the content to you guys specifically. So if you have a topic you want us to talk about more, dive in depth about, post it along with your name, give a little bit of context. So again, we know where you come from, and we can shape videos to suit you guys. Excuse the babies crying. That is my family. They're visiting, and our little sister Gigi, who also happens to have Gigi's name in the group. She's a little distraught right now. But introductions done. Boom. I just posted actually let me keep that light. That's actually nice. Perfect. I just posted a video covering fasting, a step-by-step guide, taken from a live stream I did with my dad. We covered the topic of fasting, why you should fast, why it's important, why it's fucking amazing. And let me rephrase that. We're not telling you to fast. It's just what we did for a lot of results. We can't actually tell you to do that because that'd be illegal in the United States. Again, like I've said before, I have to keep saying it to remind myself and also to tell you guys, we can't tell you to do any of this stuff because it's illegal. You have to go through a whole FDA process in order to share information like this. It's kind of ridiculous, kind of silly, but the filter I'm going to be using for all the videos is this is what we're doing for results. If someone happened to try it, they'd get the same results and have lots of life-changing transformational effects, and it'd be really, really amazing. But on to the video, on to the topic. What I want to talk about today is kind of the system that we found surrounding food and how food is structured and how we're conditioned growing up to respond to food and the relationship we have with food. I kind of touched on this in some of the Instagram posts and the previous video, but I want to dive deep here. From a very young age, we grow up and we are conditioned by our parents, by society, by the school system, the government. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that, kids. Okay, so from a young age, we've been conditioned by a number of different factors: parents, society, government, man, all these different things. And we're trained mentally that we should be having 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, that we should be following the food pyramid. Imagine you guys definitely saw that growing up when you were younger. I remember seeing it growing up. Food pyramid. You have the wheat, you have a little bit of vegetables and fruit, you have dairy. I can't remember what the hell is at the top. But the base of that pyramid is mainly like pasta, wheat, stuff like that. Horrible, horrible things for you. Terrible for your body. We're conditioned to eat this stuff. We're conditioned to have these 3 gigantic big meals that are a multitude of that pyramid. You have like a piece of bread, you have like mashed potatoes, you have a thick slice of meat, and maybe some vegetables on the side like green beans or corn or asparagus, something like that. Peppers, maybe mushrooms. But the focus is mainly on meat and bread, which are both very, very bad for you. Terrible, terrible. Meat, it gives you a little bit of nutrition, but nothing compared to something like a fruit or a vegetable. Plus, when you eat meat, it goes in your gut and it rots. It just sits there rotting, literally like falling apart, rotting, because your body, it has a hugely hard time digesting things like meat or bread. Bread is the same thing. And also, these things, the meat and the bread, stick to your gut and line your gut with this stuff, which kind of produces fat in your body. So a lot of the fat there is like built up waste from your body trying to break down this meat and bread. It's very, very gross. It's very, very bad for your body. And when this happens, as I talked about in the previous video, previous live stream, your body's now weakened because it has to deal with this rotting stuff in its body. It weakens your immune system. And when that happens, now things like disease and bacteria and viruses have more of an impact. The percentage, the chance that they can do more damage to your body is significantly higher because your immune system is way lower. Things that normally would just bounce off of your immune system, shield, that shield's not there anymore because your body's having to use all of its energy trying to digest this food, and the food is toxic, right? So that in itself is weakening your body. So now these things can come in and you can develop things like diabetes. That's how it starts. And it's not instantaneous. If you eat a cupcake and you've been eating healthy all your life, or moderately healthy, mostly healthy. You have a cupcake, it's not going to give you diabetes instantly. It's not going to give you cancer right then and there. But it's conditioning. It's how we've been conditioned from a young age, that usually that conditioning sinks its teeth in to how we think about things in our lifestyle. And it's a long-term process that is just constantly, over a long timeline, constantly doing damage to your body, to eventually your body starts to break down and it becomes weaker and weaker, and things like diabetes develop, things like cancer develop, things like other horrible diseases develop. It's not just diabetes. Diabetes is a symptom of a larger problem, that problem being your diet. The problem being not eating fruits, mainly, like 80% of the time, roughly. Those aren't like specific averages or specific percentages, but just to paint a picture. And 15% like vegetables, 5%, meats, dairy, nuts. And that 5% there is mainly our bodies evolved to be able to digest those things. Definitely not on a consistent basis. Definitely not an everyday thing. I'm talking about once a month, maybe. For when we were stranded somewhere and it was maybe in an Arctic environment and everything was just dead and we had to catch a squirrel or whatever the scenario I'm sure you can imagine. Mainly we're using fruit and vegetables to survive back in the caveman days. But occasionally we'd get some other stuff, and that's our bodies evolved to be able to handle that stuff so we could survive in very, very low resource heavy environments. So the conditioning is from a very young age, we're trained to eat this way. Because, and here's where we're going to get into the system of things, because it's what we found, hospitals make money off of sick people. That's their business model. You get sick, you go to the hospital. Now other things as well, of course, like you break a bone, you break your leg, got to go in. I have a bull riding friend of mine named Felix. He got thrown off a bull and it shattered his leg. He had to go in the hospital. He wasn't sick. He had a serious injury. Sometimes you need emergency operation. Sometimes you need specific surgery. I have an uncle of mine. He had a hip and it was poisoning him. He had to get a hip replacement. He just got that done a couple weeks ago, I think. So hospitals are amazing. I'm definitely not knocking hospitals in this live stream. That's not the point of this. But the specific aspect I'm talking about here is people getting sick, like a cold, and that degenerating into, you know, diabetes or something more serious. Cancer happens. There's definitely cases where someone's healthy as hell and they just get cancer, and it's some horrible cancer, some horrible disease that happens, and that sucks really, really like bad. It's just horrible. Being healthy, eating mainly fruit and vegetables, and fasting will go a long way in preventing and mitigating those things. But sometimes it happens, and that's just, you know, unlucky. That's just happens to be genetics. And I hate using that because a lot of people use that as an excuse for things, but there's just definitely some validity to that. Some people just get the you know, a bad hand, so to say. But the part I'm talking about, hospitals. When you get sick, you go to the hospital. And if it's like a cold, maybe they give you some, you know, medication. Maybe it's a little something more serious, not exactly like diabetes or anything like that, but worse than a cold, maybe like it's a strep throat or something. They give you maybe things like antibiotics. So they're making money by selling you this stuff. You're either paying out of pocket for like the doctor's visits or for the medication, or you're paying through, here's a hospital, here's you going to the hospital. You're either paying out of pocket or you're paying with insurance. The insurance company's paying for it, but you're paying for insurance, which covers that, healthcare, things like that. So they're making money off of you. It's a solid business model. Now, how do you get sick? Well, based on what we just talked about, a lot of it has to do with diet. What happens if hospitals, you know, started sharing information that, like what I'm talking about here, that if you followed would make you, you know, maybe get sick once a year, if that? What would happen then if you never got sick again, or very extremely rarely? You would stop going to the hospital. And what would be the consequence of that? They would stop making money or make significantly less money. So it's in the hospital's best interest, and insurance company's best interest, and pharmaceuticals, who also sell, you know, medication to you and to the hospital. It's in their best interest not to share these things. And a step further, to shut things down. That's why you have to be so careful about not telling you guys you should do this, but instead sharing, you know, what we've discovered. Like, this is what we're doing right now, this is what we're going through. And then if somebody wants to pick up on that and use it, that's fine, but we can't explicitly tell them. It's like a catch-22, if I'm using that correctly. So they would stop making money off of you. So they don't want that. They want to suppress all this information as much as possible. They want to shut things like what we're doing here down, because the more people who start using information like this and take control of their lives, take back their power, stop getting sick and feeding into this massive money machine that's taking advantage of you and making you sick and literally poisoning you. Yeah, they don't want that happening. And it's such a horrible system because in a way of looking at it, it's like, oh, it's not so bad. They're just kind of making us sick. Like, I go to the doctor, it's fine. From that frame of looking at it, sure, it's not that bad. But the deeper side, or the other side, that you pull back the covers, what happens is you develop a serious disease like diabetes, which debilitates you. Excuse me. Hey guys, keep it down, please. So, it leads to things that are more serious, like diabetes. Diabetes takes a massive financial toll on you. You go from, you know, maybe not paying any money to then suddenly having this you know, creature you have to keep feeding money to. It's like a little black hole on your finances that you didn't prepare for. And you got to limit what you eat, so now you're not, you know, being able to eat your favorite foods and stuff. And you have all this danger of your health. You have danger of like having to constantly watch your blood pressure. You have that anxiety, you have that stress added to it. It's just a lot of headache, and that is horrible because diabetes has other symptoms like nerve damage, all kinds of symptoms that are horrible and just make your life harder, more complicated, and can lead to further more drastic things. It can lead to things like cancer because your body's in such a weakened state, and already from eating processed foods, but now you throw in things like diabetes. This is weaker and weaker. Then other things can creep in. It's just bad. So I think that whole system is just monstrous. It's disgusting, to be honest. And I want to share more information I want to share what we're going through and the information that we discover in the hopes that maybe someone does something with it, but can't tell you to do that. Yeah. Let's see. Check that. One moment. Hey guys, I need quiet right now. Go play in the living room. Thank you. Kids are playing hide and go seek. Yeah, so that's the system. They make money off of you being sick. And when I was first learning about this, that really made me very angry because just of the maliciousness of it all, the very dark intent of that, of them making money, and number one, not caring how they make their money, but number two, not caring of the effect they're having, the effect them not caring about, how they make their money is having on us by making us sick. That's just very, effed up. So what helped me switch my frame of thinking to quickly adopt things like fasting and things like, eating the fruit is not that hard because fruit's naturally delicious. I've never met anybody who hates eating fruit. Not yet. I mean, maybe that guy or girl's out there, but I haven't met him or her yet. Vegetables, a little harder to get on board with. Totally understandable. But the thing is, when you start eating fruits and vegetables, your palate, which is normally accustomed to Dr. Pepper, cupcakes, and sprinkles, normalizes. It stabilizes back to its default normal range, which is not oversaturated with sugar, so you can't taste anything but the most sugary stuff. When you stop eating that stuff, you cut that stuff out, your taste buds go back to normal, and you can actually taste the fruit. The fruit tastes up. Anybody, if you're drinking Dr. Pepper right now, number one, please stop drinking Dr. Pepper because it's horrible for you. I can tell you that much. Not even associated with diabetes. It's just very toxic to your body. We found it to be doubly toxic if you have diabetes. But if you drank that, or if you can remember to a time when you did drink Dr. Pepper, if you don't do it now, that the satisfaction you got from drinking that Dr. Pepper, I have for eating like a mango or like some watermelon. It's amazing because my taste buds are normalized now. Vegetables. I ate a beet for lunch today, and it was like eating an apple. Like it was pretty good. But if I post a picture of that on like social media, or some of my friends see it, or people who might not know, might not be using this information and integrating it into the lifestyle, they go out of their minds. They're like, what? What is that? Number one, they probably don't even know what it is. They're like, what is that red thing? And then second of all, if they do know what it is, they're just going out of their mind because I'm eating it. But it tastes good. Like, I would prefer watermelon for sure, but I don't mind eating the beet. I know it's healthy for me. I know what it's doing for my body. So thinking about how they're taking advantage of me, how they're taking advantage of us, the malicious intent behind that, helps me get okay with things like fasting and eating fruits and vegetables. That's like the quick little hack. Because I'm like trying to stick it to those guys. I'm like, really? Really? You're going to take advantage of me? Like, what? Like, you're making millions, if not billions of dollars every single year by poisoning massive percentages of the population. A massive percentage, of the population. You're poisoning them, literally causing things like cancer and disease to go rampant. Tax their lives, because now they have to spend money on things like strips and insulin and needles and healthcare. Doctors' visits, medication, antibiotics, doctor's visits, surgery, chemotherapy, like all kinds of things. Like, you're okay with doing all that? Fuck you. Excuse my language, but fuck you. Like, that's not cool. Not cool. So taking that frame helped me really get okay with eating things like beets, because I can take that upfront discomfort in exchange for, number one, telling them to go F themselves and sticking it to them like you're not getting my money. And also knowing the healing effects is another huge way to kind of cope with making this lifestyle change. Because it's not easy, right? If you lived a certain way, if you've done one thing for like 20 years or plus, give or take, depending on where you're coming from in your journey, and you make a drastic lifestyle change, in which your diet is. Health is a huge pillar of your life, obviously. So flipping that completely on its head, it's not like just flipping a light switch on. It's not just like taking a magic pill it doesn't just flip automatically. You have to ease yourself into it, kind of like a hot bath. You just kind of have to slowly submerge yourself until eventually you find yourself all the way submerged in the bath, and you're like, this is amazing. But initially, it's like, I don't know about this. Man. It takes some getting used to. So these ideas I'm sharing with you, these mindsets that I had myself, and my dad shares a lot of these, I imagine, it helps us get okay with these difficult things that we felt that was very necessary to keep living and to reverse and eliminate a lot of the symptoms associated with diabetes. My dad had excruciating nerve damage in his feet. Horrible. Like, it would make him like just almost to the point of screaming. I know from engaging with a lot of you on Instagram, I remember reading this one girl, she woke up in the middle of the night, bathed in sweat, and this is all just from diabetes. Like, it complicates your life so much. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. Apologize for the ducking out repeatedly. So these things I'm sharing with you, they help cut they act as like a shortcut, there we go, to getting okay with these mindsets and making that the distance between you starting off maybe skeptical, or maybe it's very difficult, or you just don't know how to transition, making that process very, very fast and very, very easy as much as it can be. And yeah, I mean, that's the symptom. That's the system. And then you go to the hospital and they do things like chemotherapy, which is injecting your body with radiation, which is the bet you're making with chemotherapy is that it kills the cancer before it kills you, because it's destroying your DNA, it's destroying your cells, like it's causing massive, massive damage. So that's the gamble you're making, that you can kill the cancer before, chemotherapy kills you. And this is not even talking about like remissions where you have to go back and, talking about how effective it is. I'm not an expert on that, so I don't really want to comment. I don't want to go there with it, but I understand that it's a very toxic option and something that can be replaced by eating fruits and vegetables, and especially fasting. Fasting is proven by the Japanese guy who I can't remember his name. Let me Google it, just for context. If you guys want to look him up, he's pretty freaking awesome. He won the Nobel Prize for proving that fasting. Yoshinori Osumi. I'll comment. Well, just look up Nobel Prize fasting. His name will pop up. He won the Nobel Prize for proving, God, my words are all sticking to each other. For proving that when you fast, when you don't eat anything for like 24 hours, your body has these things called autophagy, which eat all the damaged and cancerous and toxic cells and bacteria and all the bad stuff in your body. Just eats that stuff. Which all the damaged cells, the things not working in your body, and things like cancer, the things that are not working lead to cancer. They like replicate. If a cell is not doing one, action that it's supposed to be doing properly, and then it replicates, and there's more of those things like twitching out and like not doing what they should be doing in your body, it's cancer. And it's horrible for your body. It causes things like death and all kinds of horrible side effects. So when you fast, it eliminates cancer. It eliminates all these horrible things in your body and reduces like inflammation. It's just there's so much good for your body. It's amazing. It's like literally like kryptonite to all that bad stuff in your body. It's like a superpower. It's crazy. It is crazy. So you could do things like that consistently, which I would take the Pepsi challenge on if that would work better versus chemotherapy. Definitely healthier for your body. Guarantee you that. Fasting, all upside. Chemotherapy, big gamble. And you possibly, depending on the exact average or percentage, you might go back in remission. I don't really know, not to comment on that, so I don't want to go there. But that's part of the hospital. They're not sharing this information with you that is going to help you because it's taking away money from their business model. And that's really shitty. I don't like that, so that's why I'm sharing this information here that we found that helped us the most. And it's just a much better life. Like, I cannot comment and talk about this enough. Coming where I was before, eating crappy food, cupcakes, all kinds of bad stuff. Had brain fog, fatigue, felt apathetic, unmotivated, low energy. This is me being super young. I'm 22, about to turn 23 this month. I was much, much younger, like 18 or so, feeling these things. Eating like these processed foods and then like being like a zombie DIR state. And yeah, it's just horrible. And I've growing up seeing my dad eat like cookie dough and then like comatose on the couch. I almost thought he was like dead because he just was like just strung out basically on ice cream. And coming from that and now feeling how my body feels now and my like mental clarity, mental focus, and seeing my dad, the amount of changes he's made from like 300 plus pounds to like now, 230 or so. Him getting a brand new girlfriend, having another kid, getting a new vehicle, making 60K at his job, 60K plus at his job, teaching programming, whereas before he was working in like a motel office. Seeing this drastic change, which, I'm sure definitely all didn't stem from just doing this one health thing. Like, your life is not going to magically get sent into overdrive from doing this thing. We can't promise you that. But definitely had a big, big factor in that transition was him getting serious about his health and, like, the mental clarity, the focus, the energy. Like, that's the big one, right? You're overweight. You have things like diabetes. It's taxing your body. It's making you have low energy. It's making you apathetic, making you probably depressed. You're just feeling unmotivated and just like, it just sucks. And the thing you want more than anything is energy, because you just don't have it. You're just laying there like, I want to do these things. I can't. I can't. I can't. That sucks. That's the most demoralizing thing in the world. And feeling that, carrying that energy, carrying that feeling with you every single day, it's like a living hell. And it doesn't have to be that way. There is another way. And it's a very, very simple and easy way. Probably a lot harder than most things you might have done. Certainly most things I've done. Fasting is difficult, for sure. Especially if you're not used to it. It's difficult. It takes a lot of mental, oomph. But the effects, it's so ridiculously good for your body. The life you can have, it's like right there. And it's not super far away. It's not out of your grasp. You can take it. You can have the energy. You can feel amazing. You can have the mental focus, the mental clarity. You can take back control of your life and do the things that you've always wanted to do. My dad has more energy being 40-something, 46 now or so, than he had in his late 20s, early 30s. That's amazing. He's playing basketball with 20-year-olds and destroying some of them. And he's like 46. You can have that life that you want. You can have control back. You can take back the power. You can have energy again. Start eating fruit. Seriously, start eating fruit. Mainly fruit. Start only buying fruit. Some vegetables, if you're feeling crazy, you want to get some carrots or something, but stick to apples, watermelon, plums, mangoes, bananas, grapes, amazing, pineapple, kiwi, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries. There's so many choices, and they all taste amazing. Start eating that. A lot of them are cheap. Mangoes are like 50 cents for one right now over at the Walmart. Bananas are like a good bunch for like $1. Watermelon right now is like $5 or $6 for gigantic watermelon. These things are not super, super expensive. Some of them are a little more, for sure, grapes and stuff, a little more pricey, but you don't have to eat those. Stick to the affordable ones. If money's an option for you, a blockage for you. But if it's not, focus on the fruits. Eat nothing but fruit. And if you're really, really serious and you really, really want to get some results, start fasting. Okay? Fasting is the big unlock. Fasting is this thing that we found to lose the most amount of weight in the quickest amount of time. Start eliminating symptoms. My dad fasted for like 21 days. That was the first time he ever did fasting. And now he does, 1 day to 3 days, once a week. And that's the quickest way to cast off a lot of the symptoms associated with diabetes. Things like the painful burning in your feet, the tingling, the numbness, the nerve damage, the constant sweating, night sweats, the constant having to urinate, the constant I mean, you guys know all the symptoms. Like, there's a ton. There's so many symptoms associated with diabetes. Fasting is the biggest unlock toward casting and shedding off a lot, if not all, those symptoms. And it's crazy. I mean, one day, 24 hours. Once a week, switch to eating nothing but fruit and some vegetables. And if you have like a particular fondness for like almonds or cashews or peanuts, that's fine too. Keep it just the peanuts though, nothing like added with it. Make sure it just says peanuts or just says cashews or just says almonds on the back of the package you're buying. Super key. But that's the biggest thing. That's what we're doing. Can't tell you to do it because that'll be illegal again, because the United States is stupid. But that's what we're doing, and that's the biggest results. My dad got rid of a lot, if not all, of his symptoms from fasting and switching his diet to fruit. That's the biggest unlock. You can have the life you want. You can have the energy. You can have the mental focus. I'm not selling you anything at the end of this video. I'm giving you all this information for free because it works and because that big, huge money machine that had me plugged in and had my dad plugged in for a very long time, making a ton of money and destroying his life, destroying his health, I want to destroy that machine. Or at the very least, that's a little ambitious, at the very least save as many people as I can within my power from getting chewed up and spat out by that machine. That's why we're making these videos. That's why I love you guys, and I'm so freaking pumped that you joined this group, because you're going to get exposed to this information. And I mean, it's new. You just joined the group. We just created the group. It's probably going to take a little bit to build a relationship and for you to kind of see what we're all about. You're just like, I don't know if I trust these guys. Totally fine, totally understandable. That's okay. We're going to keep rolling out content. We're going to keep engaging with you guys. Eventually, we'll build a relationship. You'll get to know us more, and everything will be cool. But there's no sales pitch at the end of the video. Just giving you facts, just giving you exactly what works that we found, and it will change your freaking life. So thank you guys for listening to the live stream, for watching the live stream. I apologize about the kids. I have family over, and they're very, very noisy, as I imagine you know kids to be. But thank you guys for taking the time out to watch this. It means the world. And again, if you haven't already, please introduce yourself to the group and comment something to give context so I know where you're coming from, so my dad knows where you're coming from, so we can tailor certain videos directly to you, so we can engage directly with you, and I can be like, oh, Kate or Gigi or Leonard, like, he's going through that, or, you know, that's his sticking point. So you know what, let me sit down with my dad, you know, have a phone call with him and be like, okay, what's a piece of content, what's like a little video or something we can send specifically for Leonard or specifically for, you know, Kate, and we can tailor the content in the group to help you guys specifically. So please go introduce yourself in the group. Thank you guys for watching this video. Welcome to the Crushing My Diabetes, I always mess that part up, Diabetes official group. I'm glad to have you guys, especially you two new members, and yeah, looking forward to making more videos.